Hi everybody, I'm Charlie. Welcome back to On Air, my Beatles collection. Lately I've been taking a look at some of my bootlegs, just trying to refresh my memory about some of them, and some of them I've never talked about here before. Some of them are newer, some of them are not so new, but I haven't talked about a lot of them in a while. So today I'm going to talk about this one. This is a BBC set. It's live at the BBC, 1962 to 1965, and that's the cover. So that's got a picture from the help here. See down here, it just says BBC. Doesn't say anything else on there besides the Beatles. Over here on the spine, it does say Beatles, Beatles at the BBC, 1962 to 1965. Doesn't have a label reference there. On the back, it has some of the pictures that you've seen and some that you haven't seen from BBC Studio. And there's the song titles down there. I'm going to read those to you. So this is a 2-record set. And these are, I put this album out here today because I have a ton, and I mean a ton of BBC stuff. You know, I have a 20 CD set, I have a 10 CD set, I have vinyl, I have all kinds of stuff. I like this one because it's a 2-disc set. It is vinyl. It's only been played once or twice. And it's kind of the cream of the crop, I think. You know, I like the tracks on here, so I'm going to read them to you. Starts with From Us to You, Hippie Hippie Shake, Memphis, Please Mr. Postman, Some Other Guy, Too Much Monkey Business, Do You Want to Know a Secret, I'll Be on My Way, Crying, Waiting, Hoping, To Know Her Is to Love Her, Don't Ever Change, also known as Please Don't Ever Change, and That's All Right Mama. That's just side 1. Side 2 is Carol, Soldier of Love, Lend Me Your Comb, Clarabella, Shot of Rhythm and Blues, Matchbox, Sure to Fall, Lonesome Tears in My Eyes, Sweet Little 16, Nothing Shaken But the Leaves on the Trees, and I Just Don't Understand. Again, that's just side 2. Side 3, So How Come No One Loves Me, I Got a Woman, I'm Gonna Find My Baby, The Honeymoon Song, All My Lovin', Roll Over Beethoven, Till There Was You, I Want to Be Your Man, Can't Buy Me Love, This Boy, Long Tall Sally. That's side 3. Side 4, Rock and Roll Music, A Hard Day's Night, Things We Said Today, I'll Follow the Sun, I'm a Loser, She's a Woman, I Feel Fine, Johnny Be Good, and Kansas City. To me, that's a greatest hits album, and a lot of them are more obscure than others. But I know all of them. I'm sure you all know them if you're fans. You know, everybody's heard "Soldier of Love" and "Sure to Fall" and "Too Much Monkey Business" and "Nothing Shaken But the Leaves on the Trees," and you know, I mean, it's great stuff. So this is a nice, fun listen. It's well done. Now, you may recall, you know, we've all read that more often than not, the Beatles re-recorded these songs. They didn't lip sync because it was radio. Nobody was watching them. So they didn't lip sync to, you know, pre-recorded stuff. They recorded, you know, their own songs that had already been released on albums. They recorded them just for BBC as well. So these versions, none of these versions are the commercially released version that was on, you know, one of their, you know, core albums. So they would record, and sometimes they would overdub as well. But, you know, they would basically record these songs live in the studio, and then they would get played back on the radio, and many times, multiple shows would use the same recorded track. But the point is that they are different versions because they're not the ones from the, you know, the commercially released album. They're recorded specifically for BBC. So I like that, you know, there's nuance that you can hear, you know, differences. Sometimes it's a tempo difference. Sometimes it's a mistake. Sometimes it's a harmony you hadn't heard before. Sometimes it's a harmony you were listening for and didn't hear at all. So, you know, they're like alternate takes, and they're very different. The cover is nicely done. It's very glossy, front and back. The labels are a little weird. The two labels for the two different discs are different in color. So the first one, first of all, it says, the title, it says The Wizard's Quest. Side 1, made in the USA, Continuing Saga Records. So you can see that. Side 2 is pretty much the same. Now, whoever had this before me, and I don't think anybody had it to play it, decided that they needed to put a sticker over side. I don't know what it says under the sticker. Maybe it says side 1 and side 2 again. So they put a sticker on it that said side 3 and side 4. Of course, the label is blue in this case. Otherwise, the title looks the same. The Wizard Quest, Continuing Saga, so on. So I'm guessing that this says side 1 and side 2 underneath it because they were trying to fool whoever was pressing the album for them. You know, you can't really see through the label, so you know, it's hard to know. But that's my best guess, is that the blue one says the same thing in a different color as the yellow one does. So I've got them in polyline sleeve. I really like this album. I just, like I said, I have tons of BBC stuff that I can spend hour upon hour with. I mean, it's like a greatest hits album, a BBC greatest hits album. Now, of course, we have the official BBC albums that came out. You know, the first one that came out in the 90s and the other one that came out later, the On Air Volume 2. They're so well done, and they're great albums if you like the BBC stuff. But you know, if you're into bootlegs and you're into slightly different versions, this is a nice one to have. So anyway, I don't know if you'll see this out in the wild. You might. I don't know how long it's been out. I didn't point out before what it shows down here in the corner. So it gives credit to Another International Masterpiece, 4100 Broadway, New York, New York. I don't know what any of that means. It's probably not even real. Bootleggers don't like to get tracked down with official addresses, so as far as I know, that probably doesn't even exist. Anyway, that is it for today. The Beatles, BBC, double album. Great little greatest hits, if you will. If you like the video, please hit the thumbs up. If you have any insights about this album or this series or this label or anything about it, I'd love to hear it in the comments. And if you're not yet a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button and come back and see us. Take care. Bye-bye.